If you're taking creatine the way most people do, you're wasting it. And more importantly, you're missing its biggest benefit, not your muscles, your brain. For years, creatine has been placed in a very small box, a supplement for bodybuilders, something people take to get bigger, stronger, or perform better in the gym. But that's only part of the story, because the real power of creatine has very little to do with how you look, and everything to do with how your brain functions. Focus, clarity, mental energy. And yet, most people either don't take it or they take it incorrectly and never experience what it can actually do. So today, I'm going to show you what creatine really does inside your body, why it matters for your brain, and the exact way to take it so you don't waste your time or your money. Let's start with what creatine actually is. Every cell in your body runs on energy. That energy comes from a molecule called ATP. Think of ATP as a fully charged battery. Every time your body does anything, thinking, moving, repairing, it uses ATP. And when ATP is used, it loses energy and becomes something called ADP, a drained battery. Now here's where creatine comes in. Creatine acts like a rapid recharge system. It donates energy to that drained battery and turns it back into ATP again, fast. This process is happening constantly in your body, but it becomes especially important in tissues that use a lot of energy. And there are two tissues that demand the most, your muscles and your brain. Most people understand the muscle part. That's why creatine became popular in the fitness world. But your brain uses an enormous amount of energy every second. Maintaining focus, processing information, forming memories, all of that requires constant ATP. If your brain cannot regenerate energy efficiently, you feel it. Brain fog, slower thinking, reduced focus, mental fatigue, that feeling of being off that so many people describe. So when you increase creatine levels in your body, you are not just supporting muscle performance. You are supporting your brain's ability to maintain energy. Now here's the problem. The brain is selective. It doesn't allow just anything to pass through. There is a protective system called the blood-brain barrier, and it controls what enters. That means raising creatine levels in your muscles is relatively easy, but raising it in your brain takes more effort. This is where most people go wrong. They take a small dose, 2 grams, maybe 5 grams, and expect full benefits. That dose is enough for muscles, but not enough to fully impact the brain. Studies that show cognitive benefits from creatine don't use low doses. They use a loading phase, around 20 grams per day for about 5 to 7 days. Now that sounds like a lot, and it is, which is why you don't take it all at once. You spread it out, divide it into smaller doses throughout the day. Because if you take too much at once, you run into the most common problem people complain about: stomach issues, diarrhea, discomfort. And there's a reason for that. Creatine is osmotic. That means it pulls water toward it. If you dump a large amount into your gut all at once, it pulls water into your intestines. That sudden shift causes irritation and sends you straight to the bathroom. So the solution is simple. Don't chug it, sip it. Take it slowly over 10 to 15 minutes, and even better, take it with food. Food slows down absorption and reduces that osmotic effect. After the loading phase, you don't need to stay at 20 grams. You move into a maintenance dose. For muscle support, 5 grams is enough. But for full body and brain support, I prefer a higher maintenance level, around 10 grams per day. That keeps your system saturated. Now let's talk about one of the biggest mistakes I see. People overcomplicate creatine. They walk into a supplement store and see dozens of options. Creatine hydrochloride, buffered creatine, advanced formulas with higher price tags and bold claims. But here's the reality. The most studied, most effective, and most reliable form is the simplest one. Creatine monohydrate. It works. It's been tested repeatedly. And it's the most cost-effective option. Everything else is mostly marketing. Now let's address another issue: timing. There is some evidence that taking creatine and caffeine at the same time may reduce effectiveness. They appear to have opposing effects on how muscle cells handle calcium, especially at higher caffeine doses. This interaction seems more relevant when caffeine intake is high, typically above 250 milligrams. So instead of mixing them, I separate them. Creatine first, coffee later, about 30 to 45 minutes apart. It's a small adjustment, but it removes a potential conflict. Now let's deal with the myths, because these are the reasons many people avoid creatine entirely. First myth, creatine makes you fat. That's not true. Creatine pulls water into your muscle cells. So when you start taking it, you might see the scale go up slightly, but that's not fat. That's water stored inside muscle tissue. In fact, it's a sign that creatine is working. Second myth, creatine causes hair loss. This idea comes from a single study that showed a small increase in a hormone called DHT. But even in that study, the levels remained within the normal range. And more importantly, they didn't even measure actual hair loss. There is no consistent evidence showing creatine causes hair loss. Third myth, creatine damages your kidneys. This is one of the most persistent misconceptions. In healthy individuals, creatine has been studied extensively and shown to be safe. Even in populations with higher metabolic stress, no evidence shows that creatine harms kidney function. So where does the confusion come from? It comes from a lab marker. When you take creatine, your body produces more creatinine. Creatinine is a waste product that is measured in blood tests. Doctors often use creatinine levels to estimate kidney function. So when creatinine rises, it can look like kidney function is declining. But in this case, it's misleading. The increase is not due to kidney damage. It's due to supplementation. So the test becomes less reliable. If there's concern, a better marker is cystatin C. This test is not influenced by creatine intake, muscle mass, or diet. It provides a clearer picture of actual kidney function. Now, one final myth. People say you can't mix creatine with coffee or acidic drinks because it breaks down. Technically, creatine can degrade into creatinine in acidic environments, but this process takes time. Hours to days, not minutes. So if you mix creatine in your drink and consume it shortly after, there is no meaningful loss. Your stomach acid is far stronger and your body still absorbs it effectively. So that's not something you need to worry about. Now step back and look at the bigger picture. Creatine is not just a fitness supplement. It's a cellular energy support system for your muscles, for your brain, for your overall performance. But like anything, it only works if you use it correctly. Right dose, right form, right method, and consistency. Because this is not a stimulant. You don't feel it instantly. You build it over time. You saturate your system. And then you notice the difference. Clearer thinking, better endurance, more stable energy, not a spike, but a steady improvement. So if you've tried creatine before and didn't feel anything, the problem may not be creatine. It may be how you used it. And if you've never tried it, understand this. You are not just supporting your muscles. You are supporting one of the most energy-demanding systems in your body, your brain. I'm Dr. Sean Dozbo, and now you know how to use creatine the right way.